More ARM and a few game changes. Welcome to Techtember. Happy Saturday, friends. Actually, I was traveling this week and getting a show recorded on Friday. It just wasn't in the cards. So here we are, Saturday morning, doing what we enjoy, creating content hashtag content as they would say in the creator world, or whatever. It is Saturday. Hopefully you had a wonderful August. That is, August is done. August is done, which means starting tomorrow, I guess depending on when you listen to this, is Techtember, and the schedule is like packed, right? We got IFA next week. The following week, we have the Apple event. I'm actually a little bit curious to see if there's a Microsoft event. We haven't heard anything on the Surface side, and there's definitely been some pushing down a little bit of pressure on Surface to not launch new creative things, if you will. Creative things being things like the Duo or whatever else. So we'll see if they have an October-ish event, because it's like what could be on the October event, because they did their big ARM stuff in the spring. However, Lunar Lake is right around the corner, so we will see, and we're already diving into the tech news. So let's just begin here, friends. Hopefully you had a wonderful week. Here we go. All right, next week is IFA, and IFA is probably one of the better trade shows. It's like the opposite of CES. If CES is like, here's all the future and things that may or may not ship, and you might be able to buy these at some point for a price point we don't know. IFA is the opposite. It's typically, this is shipping in 3 weeks, this is how you can buy it, this is the price. It's very matter of fact in comparison to other trade shows that we might see within the industry. We will definitely be hearing from Intel about their Lunar Lake stuff. And there is a lot going on with Intel right now, just from a business perspective. There's, Intel is reportedly putting options in front of its board and saying maybe we need to split up. And if they would split up, it would be their manufacturing division. It would be like what AMD did, if you're familiar with that. The global foundries goes one way, and then the chip design, everything else goes a different direction. Intel is reportedly looking at doing that. Nothing definitive yet, but hey, Intel is not in a super great spot right now, and so there's, all chips are on the table, if you will. One of the other things that will be coming out from this is the new Snapdragon chips. Evan Bass on Twitter, or X or whatever it's called, pulled up this image, and so it looks like we're going to start to see lower priced ARM chips. These are the Plus chips, if you will. They should be launching at this event. Hopefully we'll see some laptops with it. I don't think there's much performance difference, but I think it's more on the GPU side. We will see. The benchmarks will kind of help illustrate a little bit of a picture, but this is supposed to help lower the price point for devices, meaning ARM products will be around the $800 rather than the traditional $1,000 price point we see with the Elite chips that are shipping today. So that'll be super interesting. Lunar Lake is interesting-ish, right? It's more of the okay, how's Intel going to figure this out? And then there's also Snapdragon continues to do good things and, stacking up the portfolio of stuff before what we believe will be that their exclusivity on Windows on ARM comes to an end in 2025. And bada bing, bada boom. Anyways, the Wall Street Journal reports that Microsoft might be dumping more money into OpenAI. OpenAI's valuation has soared. It's supposedly either at $100 billion or more. And so we don't know how much Microsoft might be putting in. I don't think the round has officially closed yet, so maybe Microsoft has to disclose that. But Microsoft continues to shovel coal into that fire. And we will see if it ever has, I shouldn't say ever has a payoff. I feel like Microsoft has already made a payoff, but they're such a key partner. I think Microsoft is almost hands behind its back tied, kind of has to. I don't know what the dilution terms are or anything with that, and that might be why they're also putting more money in, but we'll see. We will see. On the Windows side, it looks like you will be able to uninstall Recall based on a recent update in the Windows Insider. There's now a checkbox for it. So it looks like you will be able to uninstall Recall if that is not your jam. That's a good thing. It's just notable because sometimes things get baked into the OS and you can't actually rip them out if you don't like them. But with a privacy-focused standpoint, being able to uninstall it will probably make more than at least one person happy. Also, on the Microsoft side, there might be some changes coming. We'll just put it that way. There might be some changes coming here in the month of September. And so we'll just keep our eyes and ears peeled for what happens in September. So, on to the gaming news. There's a little bit of gaming news this week, mostly because there have been rumors flying around Black Myth Wukong. And this is kind of what I thought always the expectation was when it didn't launch. There was a rumor hey, we couldn't get it optimized for the Series S. But like when you really start to poke around, it's that, hey, Sony played for an exclusivity on it and Microsoft just has to wait, and that's just it, and that's the end of it, and who cares? Who cares in Wukong? Anyways, I know there's people on Xbox who want to play this. Go grab it on the PC then. The underlying theme for me, pretty much going forward, is if you want to be the ultimate gamer, the ultimate gaming platform will be the PC for now until the sun explodes. At least it's not a console anymore. It is a PC. Build a PC, put it under your TV, connect an Xbox controller to it, and you should have a dandy little experience playing anything that you want. But anyways, it will come to the Xbox. It's just a timed exclusive. Big whoop, big deal. Just kind of got to sit on your hands for a little bit. There you go. Also launching this week is the Call of Duty Black Ops beta, which I played a little bit. I got some opinions, but we'll hold off on those. I want to point out that X Defiant, which was a game that landed with a big splash, along with Concord for that matter, but X Defiant landed with a big splash, and it's struggling. I just want to point out that it's a Call of Duty world, and we're all just living in it. And trying to launch a first-person shooter title that plays in that genre is very, very difficult, and it is not something for the faint of heart. I refer to Call of Duty now as like comfort food, right? Everybody knows who's ever played a game, a first-person shooter, knows how Call of Duty feels, like the polish and like everything else that goes with it. And so when you try to launch another first-person shooter, you have to play up to that level of polish that's already in existence. So it's a high bar to clear. And trying to launch a big budget first person shooter alternative to Call of Duty is a very risky endeavor. It's like trying to launch, hey, we're going to launch another Fortnite competitor, another Warzone competitor. It's like, good luck. Good luck. Those games are very well polished. They have a content feed mechanism that ships like every 4 to 6 weeks new content. It's tough. And so X Defiant is apparently on the edge of being just like shut down unless they can improve their numbers. And so I just want to point out that, hey, Microsoft bought Call of Duty for this reason. It's that it's the entrenched competitor. It is very, very difficult to upset them from or disrupt them, I think would be another better way to do it. And so there you go. Also, Concord released this week, or I think it was this week or last week or whatever, and we all know what's happening there. It's just not a good game. And unfortunately, Sony, and I feel for everybody except for the person who said we are shipping this. The developers probably put a lot of effort into it. I have no doubt. And again, it's like you're going up against Overwatch. And so, yeah, it might have mechanics and features that are better than Overwatch. But again, Overwatch is that bowl of macaroni and cheese if you like it. Now, someone's going to say, but Brad, what about Deadlock? Deadlock has released, and Deadlock has 100,000 people on Steam, and Steam didn't even advertise it. Well, Deadlock is also free. It's free to play, and so Concord was 40 bones, and Overwatch is free, and so they came into a free-to-play world, and they said, give us $40 for a game that just didn't have enough going for it to justify that. And so it's not, I don't know how. I would expect at some point Sony to be like, okay, we're going to go free to play. It'll be free. Let's just go free to play and see if we can get a user base. That is my expectation. But even then, once you're soured like that, unless you are very lucky like No Man's Sky, and let's be super duper clear about No Man's Sky, the developers put a ton of effort into it to recover from their soured image, and it took literal years. And now No Man's Sky is it is a super high-end polished experience, and they've done a wonderful job with that game. But however, look at how long it took to get there. So at the end of the day, I wish all the developers behind these titles the best of luck. Launching a game is very difficult and very challenging. Ooh, almost knocked my drink over. And the thing that people don't think about is not only does it have to work, but it has to be fun. That's the challenge of game development. Not only does the entire platform have to just function, right? Hit detection has to work. The net code has to be really tight, and everything just has to work. And then it has to be fun. It's not just good enough to work. It has to be fun. It has to have a good gameplay loop, if you will. So there is the Xbox news. We're heading into, Age of Mythology launched, by the way, and it's hovering around a 90 Metacritic. So good job on that side as well. It looks like Xbox has got there's another launch. There's a couple games coming out for Xbox. So yeah, should be Techtember. I don't know how you force the game in there, Tech Gaming Timber or something like that. Whatever. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, it's about to be a good month. They're about to be a good quarter. So All right, let's move on to the questions of the week. Always my favorite part, as we here are at before 7 o'clock on a Saturday morning. The Joe Finn dropping in says, it looks like pre-orders of the 5G ARM Surface Pro devices are out of stock. What do you think the primary reason for this is? Low quality or low initial order quantities, supply chain, a bug in the Microsoft Store website, or actually strong demand? Well, one of the things I want to point out is that I needed to give a shout out to a bunch of people messaged me when I said I was trying to buy a dev kit for the ARM stuff, the Qualcomm ARM one, and you had to go to a company like arrow.com or something like that. It's still like impossible to get these things. Like everybody who's messaged me about this keeps saying my shipping date keeps getting pushed out further and further and further. That's really frustrating. Anyways, I still hope, as an aside, I want the next thing I want to come out of the Surface division, I want them to build a Mac Mini competitor, but with the Snapdragon Elite. Give me the little PC box. Give me the Mac Mini. Like that. It's like you can feel it on your fingertips. It's right there, guys. It's right there. You can already make these things. It's the perfect little device. Just give us something simple, like 4 USB-C ports on the back, 2 display ports, and a power port, and I am in. Put it in a nice metal shell, just like your Surface products. Give them your fancy colors. Boom. Done. Sold. You're going to sell a lot of them, and they wouldn't be super expensive. They're not crazy things. That's what Microsoft... Anyways, if you can't see what I'm doing with my foot, it's me stepping off the soapbox. Anyways, to answer the Joe Finn's question, I think it's probably a combination of low initial order supply, is my guess. These things always launch very weird on the Microsoft website. I actually love that you put a bug in the Microsoft Store website because... that has happened. One of the business editions said it was sold out for a long time, and actually you just had to call in to your rep. So the real answer here is, if you are a business customer, call your Microsoft rep, because they're going to be able to get you something faster than I believe through the store anyways. And so that would be that would just be what I would say. J5 dropping in here. He says, hi, Brad. I asked this a couple years ago, and here I am asking it again. He says, would there be any chance for Stardock to bring Groupie to Mac OS? It's such a handy piece. Okay, this is not a plant, I promise you. It's such a handy piece of software that it should be across all OSs. So what is Groupie? So Groupie 2 that we launched last June allows you to add, so think browser tabs, and you can do that to any application. So the way we use it at work, or the way I use it, is I will have an Excel spreadsheet and a PowerPoint when I'm making presentations and whatever else tabbed. So then you can just toggle back and forth between the tabs like a browser. You can add tabs to literally anything, and everything, mix, match, and all that good stuff. So can we bring it to Mac? So I'll give you 2 answers why that's not going to happen, at least from us. One, building Groupie was actually very complicated on Windows because of how Windows does the Z ordering and everything else within Windows. Number one, it's complicated, but let's assume that it wasn't complicated. Like Stardock sells Microsoft apps. Building a Mac app is always interesting to us, but we don't have that expertise fully in-house, if that makes sense. Like we build Windows apps, we sell Windows apps. To then go build a Mac app, how am I going to market this? Is one of the challenges, candidly, because our entire marketing stack and flow is built around Windows customers, not Mac users. So it would be, don't get me wrong, if we had the ability tomorrow to ship a Groupie on macOS, we give it a shot. But right now, we're not set up to be building Mac apps and selling premium Mac experiences all the way through, because it's not just building the app, right? Stardock has to have our authentication platform. So it's the whole stack, baby. And we're happy being Windows developers. Don't get me wrong. The one of the things we do talk about a lot is like, man, Mac and Apple users do pay more for apps. Like, it's funny. So you love Groupie. We love Groupie. Everybody at our company uses Groupie. It's a $10 app. People will tell us it's $10. That's too much to pay for an app on Windows. And mind you, anybody listening to this is me. I apparently got back up on my soapbox. People will tell us $10 for a permanent license that you own until the sun explodes is too much money for an app on Windows. And we're like, Anyways, me on the soapbox, but no, J5, I do apologize. We do not have any plans currently. Geez, there's another Stardock question. We do not have any plans to bring Groupie to Mac at this time. at least that we're sharing publicly. So Mr. PKI, he said, I just noticed after the latest Start 11 update. So Start 11 is our start menu replacement. We refer to as the industry's best start menu. I love it. But anyways, I can change the size of the apps I pin to Start 11. Has this always been possible? Now that I've found it, I'm loving the customization. Okay, Mr. PKI is our most frequent commenter on this podcast, and I promise he is not my alter ego. I believe that has been in there. I believe that in there. So the funny thing about Start 11 is I went down the path of like how many different combinations of a start menu can you experience or create with Start 11, because there's I think hundreds of options, and you get to like a factorial equation where it's like there's more options and customization functionality in Start 11 than like grains of sand on the planet Earth. So I believe that has been in there, and the reason why I bring that up is I can't always remember how long that's been in there, but I'm pretty sure that was in there for the first one. And it actually highlights another point we have, since I lead the software division team, is how do we create the discoverability of some of these features, right? Some of them we just built in because we wanted them or they were asked, but we can't add tooltips and everything else. Otherwise, when you open the start menu experience, it's just going to be tooltips. Literally, just your entire screen will be tooltips about like, hey, you can do this. And especially when we launched Start 11 V2, where there was basically when we launched V2, there was an equivalent number of features in V2 that V1 had holistically. And so we added a ton, and trying to like expose all that was actually a challenge. One of the things I do not like about V2 is our config window. While it is very performant and visually pretty, we like to say, there's a lot going on. So like trying to create that hierarchy of how we're going to stack features and where we place features, because some features could fit in two different places, is actually something we discuss a lot. One of the things we're thinking about, we haven't started building another version of Start yet, is actually putting like templates in, because to Mr. PKI's point, there are so many freaking options in there that people will never find them. So giving people like a template gallery that says, okay, you can do this or this or this, just with like a click of a button to get people started, is something we are considering. So, Mr. PKI, fun ending Xbox question of the week. Why did you not change your Sam's Report logo for your avatar on... Hey, here's Mr. PKI paying attention to my woes on Xbox. So, if you didn't listen to the past couple shows, no, I'm not judging you, but super quick story. I was playing Cat Quest. My Xbox profile did not have an icon. Did not have one. And so this was actually creating a bug in Cat Quest that was nuking the save file. That has all been solved, but I had to apply an icon to my Xbox account. And Mr. PKI said, why did you use this logo that is right behind you? Actually, well, first off, I did it in a panic to try to get Cat Quest fixed so I could play with my daughter. But that is actually a really good idea. So maybe I will go ahead and do it. I've been thinking about trying to update this. I don't know if I will or not. I was thinking, I don't know if like putting a small drop shadow over here would help. But I mean, this has been the logo since I changed the name from the Redmond Report, and I paid somebody on Fiverr to create something real quick because we had media production coming up and I needed something quick. And so this is what they came up with. And maybe I'll, I don't know. You guys let me know. Should I add like a little drop shadow to that or not? We'll see. We'll see. Drop shadow would add depth. So if you're not familiar with that functionality, that's what it would do. Anyways, this has been a weird podcast. Been on a Saturday morning. We talked a lot about software development and functionality. Whatever. This is the show. So as always, my friends, thanks for tuning in, because the only BS on this podcast is me.